Oh, yeah. Good evening on this late night Tuesday, May the 6th, 1965 to 2025. It is my birthday. I'm glad to be here. I don't know if anybody's birthday, but I'm still here. You can't deny me. Well, you could. You could just not watch. This is Dave the AM, Southern Fried Cornbread Nation. That's our official company name. Sometimes we say the Southern Fried Podcast and the Cornbread Nation, or just Cornbread Nation, or just SFP. And the Rumble side, SF Podcasting is one of our channels, as well as Southern Fried Podcast and Cornbread Nation. And a new one, Dave in the AM. Just branching out, getting things ready for all kinds of different things going on. Absolutely. It's your Maga report. Southern Fried style. Monday through Friday. 10-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Some nights we have a show on right before it, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'll try to get on as quick as I can after that. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, unless something goes crazy, should be right at the 10 bell spot. Our nightly look at MAGA news, or news of interest MAGA. Things that make America greater and great, the greatest again, or things that could harm us, things we're tired of. Better believe it. The Houthis! Oh my goodness, the whirlwind tour of the Houthis is over. The curtain is coming down. They tried to play with the big boys. They wanted to be the bad terrorist on the block. Hey, here come the Houthis. Tapped out today. Mr. President Trump says the Houthis say, we don't want to be bombed no more. We won't bomb your ships. Tapping out. It better not be a fake, like in them old wrestlers. That tap, be a fake. Then they just come on back in. I think they had enough. I don't use the phrase, but some do with the initials F. Something F. Oh, mess around and find out. We can say it that way. That would apply. Warhead on your forehead, baby. Come on, Houthis. You got a little too big for your terrorist britches. You tried to look big in your neighborhood. You thought, we'll stand up to the imperial demons of the West, the great Satan they call us. We'll show you. We'll bomb your ships into submission. Your sailors will be floating on the water face down, ships burning, falling into the sea. The whole thing fell in the sea was a plane. That was our fault. The Houthis, they're done. No word from the Houthis yet, but the president says, we're going to stop bombing them. You got to let the dust settle, Smoke go away, fires die down. See if anybody comes out, shakes their fist again at America, says, let's go. I think they're done. The Houthis. Lord help the Houthis. What happened to you? You were just starting to get annoying. We really thought you had more than that. We kind of overlooked you a little bit. We'll admit it. We didn't figure you were going to stay in there that long. But the Houthis are done. So we'll see. They figured we were so busy with everything else going on, Ukraine and Russia, Iran, the Gaza situation, China, tariffs. They said, oh, it's a perfect time to hit America. We'll mess up their shipping lanes. No, all you did was mess yourselves up. You might have caused us a little minor inconvenience, but at the end of the day, my friends, your star has fallen. The world tour is over of the Houthis. Hold on to those tickets. Don't know if they'll be worth anything, but the Houthis are not going to be making the next appearance in a terror state near you. They're tapping out. They're done. Warhead on the forehead, baby. The Houthis are cashing in. They say we've had enough. We can't take it. We'll let Iran, we'll let the Hamas, Hezbollah, somebody take over for us. We'll tag team with you, but we're tapping out. So we'll see. But Trump says he's going to stop bombing after agreement is struck. I think the agreement is this. I think they said if you don't stop, we're not going to stop, and there'll be nothing left. And the Houthis said, we give. At least for a while. I think it'll be a big while. If they don't, it's going to come down again, raining down, shock and all. We didn't even really give them that much, really, considering we could have really lit the place up. But what the video we see is they got lit up. They weren't going out for Friday night ice cream. Cook out in the backyard, little terror camp. You know, after a hard day of trying to take out American military interest, making you little quick videos, pushing them up to TikTok, X, wherever else, running out, shaking your fist at America, death to America. Oh, bombs are coming. It's over. The neighborhoods went black. And it's not because they burned the cookout, because they're burning. Houthis, come on. Come on. Gaza, Trump says, President Trump that is, says we will support food for Gaza. Israel says they're going to level the place entirely, relocate all the people to one area, and rebuild after they completely destroy Hamas. There's no turning back now. I know people get this is a hot button one for a lot of people around the country. Protesters going into universities, taking over buildings. Not oh, wait a minute. They're not protesters. They're not protesters. That's what they call them in the news. When protests become infiltrations, takeovers, violence, scared officials, when you're having to run the police in and arrest people and drag them out, that's not protest. Don't call them protesters. No, they're homegrown terrorists. Deal with it. Just because you don't like what's going on in the world doesn't give you the right, to take up the club and go start clubbing people. We're not talking about club dancing. We're talking about they're busting in a place, taking over, protesting Boeing. It started as a protest, and it melted down into violence. It's not protest. Put these people in jail for a while. Sick of it. Universities, do better. Do better. Call for help. You know what? Quit bashing America. Quit running down the police. They're there helping you. What are these cesspools called the American universities? Are we going to have, again, the right to have, yes, differences of opinion? That doesn't give you a right to burn the place down, take it over, set up a camp, scare people, threaten people. Could have been deaths. The Gaza situation is getting uglier, and it's probably going to get uglier. It's already went so far. There's really nothing that can be done else. It's a shell of what it was. Blame whoever you want, but reality is Gaza's a mess. I really don't want the United States involved. I get food supplies, but I really don't want American interest in delivering the food. Remember the last time we got shot at? Remember the temporary very expensive dock. Hamas coming in, shooting at our people, shooting at Palestinians, not citizens. They're not citizens. They don't have a country. The people that live in Gaza, they were being shot at as they try to go for food by Hamas, yes. But how do you do it? Airdrop, Hamas takes it over. You'll have to control it. I really don't want to see us involved in that. I'm good with giving some food. It's going to be an ugly mess. President Trump says the Abraham Accords are going to expand. Deals are coming. Well, actually, Witkoff said it. They got exciting news is they're going to expand upon the Abraham Accords. More agreements across the Middle East. Involved in that is, yes, the food, support, and humanitarian needs of Gaza. And I'm sure the rebuilding and where that goes. So we'll see what kind of deals are struck. Violence between India and Pakistan. Two nuclear powers. This thing's been ticking on for a long time. Arguing over land. That's what it always is, right? Artillery fights. Dead soldiers. Become a common occurrence. It's getting a little uglier. Remember, folks, two nuclear powers. Not a question with them, not if. They have. How many people live in India? How many live in Pakistan? That's a whole lot of targets for either side to fire at. Not saying they would use them, but this thing is heating up. Not good. President Trump, things are not going according to plan. Trust in your vision. Got to get a handle on these things. Ukraine, Russia. No advancement. We're nowhere closer. In fact, we're moving in a Patriot missile shield. I guess we have to have the shield up so we can dig for the mineral. No deal. Not even close, as far as we can tell. Gaza, a mess. Iran. The clock is ticking. Israel says if you don't do it, we are. More military resources being brought into the region. The Houthis have topped out. Iran will not. What will happen here? It's not a pretty scene. Usually the Middle East and the region is not. And it's inflamed right now. Just the right spark. It's going to be bad. It's already bad. RFK Jr. was on the record with Greta Van Susteren. Now I have to be careful here. If I do code words, it's because there are a stream or two, certainly one, that will strike our channel down for a week. It's no joke. Now we're streaming on about 11, 12, 13 different things. Well, some of them are double. About 11 different streams. There's one word I cannot say without dropping someone out. I really not want to do that. We try to be careful with any stories involving these discussions. On the record with Greta Van Susteren, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. told Newsmax on Tuesday that President Donald Trump's executive order prohibiting federally funded gain-of-function research on biological agents and pathogens was a milestone and historic development. Gain-of-function is an area of science where scientists really play God, Kennedy told the record with Greta Van Susteren. She's been around a long time, hasn't she? And they're taking pathogenic viruses and they're making them more transmissible. They're making them more virulent, and they're making them more deadly. President Trump wants to have our federally funded scientists actually improving public health, ending chronic disease, fighting infectious diseases, rather than creating new ones. And yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order to ban dangerous gain-of-function studies in this country and prevent us from funding those studies abroad. And I think it was a milestone, a historic development. I'm very grateful to the President Trump for doing that. Kennedy goes on to say that the gain-of-function studies resulted after the U.S. began biological weapons research in 1947, but that President Richard Nixon ended it in 1969, 3 years or 4 years before he stepped down. Nixon then ordered the U.S. to destroy its entire stockpile of biological agents and restrict its future biological research program to defensive measures such as, there's the word I can't say, and field detectors, according to the Center for the Study of Weapons of Mass Destruction. Nixon also led a charge for a United Nations drafted biological weapons convention treaty, which the Senate ratified in 1972, to which 187 other countries agreed. But Kennedy blamed, yes, Dr. Anthony Fauci, former head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, for receiving gain-of-function research in 2001 following a series of anthrax attacks in the U.S. Remember that? Although the Obama administration paused such federally funded research in October 2014, the National Institute of Health lifted that pause in December 27 for experiments involving influenza, SARS, and MERS viruses. A lab leak at the China Wuhan Institute of Virology, which was studying gain-of-function research on coronaviruses, is believed what sparked the pandemic. Gain-of-function studies in bioweapons development was forbidden by the Bioweapons Charter, Kennedy said. Nixon did something really extraordinary. He went to Fort Detrick in Maryland in 1969 and said, we're unilaterally stopping all bioweapons development. And then he got 180 countries to sign the Bioweapons Convention Treaty. Bioweapons and gain-of-function science stopped between 1973 and 2001. He did some amazing things as well. Besides that, I wasn't as familiar with that one, but we know that President Nixon signed into law the formation of OSHA, the EPA, and a couple other things. For all of his faults, he did some amazing stuff to try to make the country safer. Those rules are in place that were not there before. Keep companies in America from doing things to harm American workers. If they don't, they get fined heavily. Those fines have went up. And you don't want a willful violation. In an extreme example, they could lock the doors on it. But these are the rules we live by. I've been working safety for many years. We have President Richard Nixon to thank for that. When Fauci began launching these studies again in 2001, after the anthrax attacks, it precipitated an entire bioweapons arms race across the globe, of which Ukraine has been talked about as having labs there. A lot of information we don't know, a lot of talk. And the Chinese are now deep into this, and Russia's deep into it, Iran, and many other countries. Kennedy said Henry Kissinger, National Security Advisor and Secretary of State in Nixon's administration, described such research in 1969 as the poor man's atom bomb. Oh, they're researching. There's no doubt. Many of these nations have gassed their own people. They are always looking for a way to use these things to affect their enemies or people they want to conquer. And they don't have a problem with doing it, to their own people, like we said. Quote, anybody can make this stuff, particularly now with AI technology and CRISPR technology, Kennedy said, referring to artificial intelligence and technology that allows scientists to selectively modify the DNA of living organisms. Just this whole Dr. Frankenstein crap just makes you really worry what is going on in these labs. They can make it in their garage if they have the blueprint, Kennedy said. And these scientists, the federally funded scientists, were creating the blueprint and then publishing them. And they were just how-to manuals about how to destroy humanity. It was really insane what we were doing. And I'm very, very grateful for President Trump for putting an end to this in this country. And we're looking forward to his leadership around the world and getting other countries to ban it. These are scary things. I think that they could be some sort of, not only that chemical agent that could be dropped that would just choke you out or make you bleed out or whatever the case may be, to also now going in the body and creating ticking time bombs where things could happen. I mean, they just can't help themselves, some of these people. They're just like kids in a candy store researching this stuff and coming up with these weapons. And there's always some evil entity, and that could be anybody, not limiting it to the known terrorists. We don't know what goes on in some of these institutions. And let's face it, Africa is the proving ground. Now, they'll always just talk about how they, it's that society. How much money's been poured into Africa? How much other things have been poured into Africa? That's where they test their weapons out. That's where they test, what countermeasures will happen on chemical warfare. It's always Africa. A little bit of times it's been in the Middle East, but most of the time it's Africa. Which, tip of the horn, the tip of the country, rather, the continent is there. I get my words out. And that's, that's where the wars are always going on. Somewhere in Africa, there's always a war going on. It's incredible. There's always a country, or a few, where coups are going on. There's violent civil unrest, mass death. Remember the Rwandans, Houthis, and my gosh. Now you've got places like Burkina Faso. And not only there, but other places where Islam is spreading across. Those Islamic terrorists are coming in, and they're conquering a lot of areas that split some nations. Some of them, big, huge swaths of them are already turned over. Russia's also on the march. Some of those places fly Russian flags. Never hear about it, but they're there. So we'll see. That's an amazing story. I'd like to come back and dig a little deeper on that. So you wonder, I would just love to have the records on this. What exactly these jacklegs did, and what have they been doing, and who do they work with? Who needs to go to jail? Who needs to be purple for the destruction, the hurt that they put on America? Oh, we want to blame China. Sure, they're guilty of sin, but who else? Who else? There's other people involved, and we need to find this out. It's incredibly important. We cannot let these people. I mean, is this any different in Nazi Germany? Running medical experiments, just sick medical experiments on people. We we're aghast at that. Oh, the Mengele, Dr. Death, and all these things. Well, what have we done? What have we been a part of? That's scary. It's absolutely scary. Quick commercial. We'll be right back. Dave in the AM with your MAGA report.
Yes, Robin, Dave, y'all.
Southern Fried Podcast fans, this is Dave in the AM. I want to tell you about our store. We've been promoting it a little bit. We wanted to promote it a little bit more and let you know we've been adding some designs to it, and we're continuing to do that. Right now, there's a summer sale going on. You're going to see here in just a second what kind of discounts you can get. They're pretty amazing. Our old store became cumbersome, and it was not easily updated, and we have since went to a new store, and the old one is still there, and if you decide to shop there, that's fine. But this is our new store, and it is so easy for us to manage, and we want to thank the folks at Threadless for that. So on the screen right now, you see some shirts, some of the different designs. One of our newest one is the Georgia outline, the red one. We really like that. You see some of our classic designs. You see some here that you may not have seen before. And again, we're designing and adding to just about every week. You see hats. There is just about anything in there, and we're trying to add more products all the time, as well as those new designs. So go shop at the Southern Fried Podcast store, and you'll be able to get some of these things too. Here's the QR code for that. You can see at the top of the page, 40% off right now. These are amazing prices going on. The store is very affordable. Me and Rob wanted as best the prices as we could get, and this is the place that we found to be able to do it. And there's the address. You can copy that out or use the QR code. We thank you for your support of the Southern Fried Podcast and watching the shows and supporting us and letting us know how much you enjoy it. You mean a lot to us. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you soon. Hey, Southern Fried fans and your Cornbread Nation. Well, yeah, that's right. We're going to advertise for Mammoth Nation. To all proud Americans, we call attention to these thoughts. Are you tired of woke corporations that don't align with your values? I know we are. Look no further than Mammoth Nation, the ultimate destination for patriots like you and me, and Rob and everybody else, including old crazy Uncle Jeb, who believe in putting America first. Here at the Southern Fried Podcast, we're proud to partner with Mammoth Nation because they share our unwavering commitment to faith, family, and yes, freedom. Just like us, Mammoth Nation believes in the power of the American spirit and the importance of preserving our great nation's heritage. When you join Mammoth Nation, you're not just getting access to amazing discounts on products and services, you're becoming a part of a community that stands against the forces trying to tear our country apart. From supporting veterans and first responders to promoting Christian values, Mammoth Nation is the go-to platform for conservatives who want to make their voices heard. So what are you waiting for? Join the Mammoth Nation movement today and start enjoying exclusive deals from businesses that share your America First values. Together, we can make America great again, one purchase at a time. Don't miss out on this opportunity to support a company that truly cares about our nation's future. Sign up for Mammoth Nation now and experience the difference of a community that puts America first. Use that QR code on the screen, folks, and that will take you right to the website where we also will be helped in your support of these values. We are customers of this great American company. Rob is a monthly supporter, and I am a lifetime member of Mammoth Nation. We're so appreciative of companies like this. Please be a supporter, not just for us, but for America. These companies need our support. We're patriots. Stand together with patriots. Take care, and God bless. Okay, welcome back. By the way, of the store, I just got me in a coffee cup, one of our new logos. Just came in today, actually yesterday, I think. I think I saw it this morning. We'll get that on the set by the morning. Just didn't get it back to the studio. The United States is going to deport some migrants to Libya on military flights, sources are reporting. For the first time this week, two different officials, the U.S. military could fly the migrants to the North African country as soon as Wednesday, but stressed that plans could still change. Pentagon referred queries to the White House, while White House, State Department, and Department of Homeland Security did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Reuters could not determine how many migrants will be sent to Libya or the nationalities of the individuals that U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is eyeing for deportation. In its annual human rights report released last year, the U.S. State Department criticized Libya's harsh and life-threatening prison conditions and arbitrary arrest or detention. Of course, they're going to say, oh, yeah, Biden was in charge. So anyway, they're going to load up some and send them there. So we'll see. Remember, we haven't heard any much of the talk of the Gazans going to some areas in Africa as well. Those were always deals that one was saying had happened. America had said, well, we talked to them and they were for it. They said, we haven't talked. Interesting information is going back and forth. As the press gets a hold of something, then people sort of back off of the issues or what they've been talking about. Waiting for the right moment, I suppose. On the flip side, these judges, Judge on Monday ordered the Trump administration to admit some 12,000 refugees in the United States under a court order, partially blocking the president's efforts to suspend the nation's refugee admissions program. This order came from U.S. District Judge Jamal Whitehead, following arguments from the Justice Department and refugee resettlement agencies over how to interpret a federal appeals court ruling that significantly narrowed an earlier decision from Whitehead. Every time I think of Whitehead, I think of the guy in All the Family. The funeral guy, that's why his name is Whitehead. During a hearing last week, the administration said it should only have to process 160 refugees into the country, and that it would likely appeal any order requiring it to admit thousands, but the judge dismissed the government's analysis, saying it required not just reading between the lines of the Ninth Circuit's ruling, but a hallucinating new text that simply is not there. This court will not entertain the government's result-oriented rewriting of a judicial order that clearly says what it says. I can hear Biden somewhere going, come on, man. The government is free, of course, to seek further clarification from the Ninth Circuit, but the government is not free to disobey statutory and constitutional law and the direct orders of this court and the Ninth Circuit while it seeks such clarification. So they're digging back into some old rulings, and they're obviously trying to use some of those things that are already on the books, which is wise to do. You don't have to create anything new. You just use those. No matter how old they are, they're still in the books. And so these things will filter up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to be busy for 4 years, because the president is going to challenge these things and see where and when that soft spot is that he can get these things done. After all, people in the country want to see him fail mightily. The U.S. Navy sends another warship near Iran. News that came out yesterday. Remember, the Milanis has been moved into the area. So we wonder what's going on. Will they really hit Iran, or will they just be there to support Israel? And how involved are we going to be in the Gaza Strip? Don't know. President today called New York Attorney General Letitia James, quote, a total crook, end quote. Says the DOJ will, quote, do what's right, end quote, on fraud criminal referral. He goes on to say, quote, she's a very bad person. She's a very, very bad person who campaigned solely on, I'm going to get Donald Trump, over and over again. She's a sick person, Trump said. Heating up the war of the words and the lawsuits and the different legal entities. We've never seen such a time as this. He went on to say, I can say unrelated to some of the other issues that they have about her, that she's a disaster for New York. She's a horrible, horrible human being. And I think she's a total crook. There's no question about it, but that's just my opinion, President Trump said. Pam's going to have to do what she wants, Trump added. She's a very bad person. So we'll see. Pam's going to do what's right. She always does. I've known her a long time. Well, that's a message. I mean, obviously that's a message. You come out and you said this, but Pam's going to take care of it. She'll do it her way. Right. The problem is that Pam's not been doing anything. So, Mr. President, I guess the answer is already, she's not going to do anything. Does anybody really see Pam Bondi doing anything here? Not being very active outside of a bunch of press conferences and some promises to release some information that was heavily redacted, delays in other information being released. What we're going to have to have another news desk to talk about the grades for some of these leaders of these departments. So we'll see. I have no love for Letitia James. I think it's horrible what they did. I'm just saying, what has Pam Bondi really done? We would hope that after 100 days in, we got the information. I know investigations take a while, but seriously, it didn't take them long to indict all of the conservatives. When's the indictments coming? When's the perp walk coming? Let them find it out in court. If we know there's been illegal activity, why wait? Go ahead and put it out there. I know there's never going to be any love between them because of the amount of the judgment, different things that happened, and how they jerked him around. As of last month, the size of the penalties topped $500 billion that Trump will have to pay due to the accrual of interest as Trump appeals. This number just keeps growing. Can you imagine? A $364 million judgment is now over $500 billion. And when is this going to be heard? When is the appeal going to be heard? When? I mean, this could be $1 billion haul. The allegations against James also stem from the details of financial documents. It cites reports that, quote, multiple instances in which James allegedly, quote, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans and more favorable loan terms. This has potentially included, number one, falsifying resident status for a Norfolk, Virginia-based home in order to secure a lower mortgage rate, and two, misrepresenting property descriptions to meet the stringent requirements for government-backed loans and government assistance. In August of 23, James allegedly said in documents that the Norfolk home would be her primary residence, despite listing her home address as being in New York on other forms. Everybody knows when you fill these documents out, you've got to do this right. It's got to match. Primary residence mortgages receive more favorable loan terms, including lower interest rates than secondary residence mortgage. James also allegedly listed a 5-unit Brooklyn residence that she has owned since 2001 as having only 4 units, allowing her to meet the eligibility requirements for Fannie Mae / Freddie Mac conforming loans that are subject to a cap of 4 dwellings per property. A building that exceeds 4 units must be treated as a multifamily property and typically has larger down payment requirements and higher interest rate terms, and interest rates being between 0.75 and 1% higher due to lenders viewing multifamily loans as significantly riskier. James' personal attorney, Abe Lowell, denied the allegations in an April 24th letter to Bondi, saying there was a misunderstanding about both instances. Misunderstanding. Well, we'll see, because I don't know about that. But something ain't right. And it's been not right in a lot of these justice departments around the country. Atlanta, New York, California, Washington for sure. We'll see. Sometimes justice turns slow. We were expecting a quicker response time. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll circle back. President Trump to meet with Canadian new Prime Minister. Trump offers a blunt 3-word response. Yes, we Canada. After Canada's new Prime Minister said the country is, quote, not for sale. He again said Tuesday he wanted Canada to be the 51st state. But new Prime Minister Mark Carney rebuffed that in a tense exchange in the Oval Office. The race for a new state. Greenland, Canada. Of course, the Democrats wanted to make District of Columbia a state. Of course they did. Of course they did. Oh. Carney said he had told Trump behind closed doors to, quote, stop. Can you imagine him telling him to stop? Really? I don't think he said it like that. Stop publicly musing about annexing Canada, but did not reveal what the U.S. president said in response. Oh, of course not. What did you just say to me? What was that? I don't think people talk to him like that too much. We are masters in our own home, the Prime Minister added. We can give ourselves far more than any foreign government can ever take away. Oh, that's bold talk. Trump said he thought the meeting went very well and denied there was any tense or tension between him and Carney. Oh, so we'll see. Nice picture of him. We'll see. 51st state, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a lot of hoorah stuff, but I do think they'll squeeze them back on the tariffs and get this. This will all be on the American side. Canadians have more to lose here than America. We may have some goods that we lose, and services, yes, but we can replace those. It's going to hurt Canada in the long run. That's my belief. President Trump has asked, why is America subsidizing Canada by $200 billion a year in addition to giving them free military protection and many other things? Trump told his followers. We don't need their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't need their lumber. We don't need anything they have other than their friendship. Reminds me of the old Godfather movie. What is important is that we are still friends. Whoop. Rumble Studio, trying to act up. So sorry. There we go. Back. Rumble, don't be acting up like that. It reminds me of the old Godfather. What is important is our friendship. Which hopefully we will always maintain. They, on the other hand, need everything from us, he says, exclamation mark. He knows he holds the cards here. He really does. But we'll see. Oh, Canada. Don't be playing those games. It says we have a lot of things in common. There's still some points to go over. So we'll see what happens with that. Ongoing discussions with Canada. Tariffs. China. Tariffs. Gaza. Food. Houthis. We're done. Iran. Yet to be determined. Russia. Ukraine. Who knows? Who knows? What will Israel do? Who knows? Oh my gosh. Have you seen this article? Pet raccoon with a meth pipe in his mouth found in driver's seat during traffic stop. And yes, there's pictures and video. Have you seen that? Are you kidding me? My God. Can you imagine being the officer that walks up to the door? Excuse me, sir, the reason I pulled you. Oh, hey, what is that? And what's he got in his mouth? He was pulled over, the gentleman was, for a suspended license, leading them to discover a huge drug supply. Eagle-eyed officers noticed Chewy. These stories. Chewy, the raccoon sitting in the driver's seat. Oh, Eagle Eye? What the heck is Eagle Eye about it? How could you not see it? Hey, what's that moving around? Seemingly making use of the drug paraphernalia after owner Victoria Vidal, 55, was detained. I don't call that being Eagle Eye. Chewy had somehow gotten hold of a glass methamphetamine pipe, leading officers to further inspect the vehicle. The intrigued officers, oh, the eagle-eyed now intrigued officers, they discovers a bulk amount of methamphetamine. Now, they weren't intrigued. They says, oh, we got crap going on here. Crack cocaine and used glass pipes in the vehicle. Body cam footage showed the well-fed raccoon rooting around in the ruinous car. Who wrote this? What has happened to good journalism? The ruinous car, wide open. Oh my gosh. Wide-eyed and docile as it put the pot to its snout. It's not funny, it's just the way they wrote this article. Thankfully, Chewy, the raccoon, was unharmed. Notifications made their proper authorities determine that Vidal has the proper paperwork and documentation to own the raccoon. Who the heck needs a raccoon? I mean, if you had a little pet zoo or something, I guess, but I don't know. I'm not petting a raccoon. Vidal was charged with felony 3 possession of drugs, 3 counts of possession of drug paraphernalia, and was cited with a suspended license. The police said, there he is, sitting in the car seat. Oh, that ain't the first time he's put that to his mouth. What in the world is going on? She was also booked, the owner of the car, by Cuyahoga Falls police for her active warrant. No word on whether the raccoon had a warrant. It is illegal to obtain a permit to own a raccoon in the state of Ohio. Steve, the Celtic blacksmith. Oh, I have got to ask you about this tomorrow. Cops did not make clear whether Chewy tested positive for drugs or whether he would be returned to Vidal. Oh, who wrote this article? I sure want to give you credit. Shane Galvin, New York Post. It seems as though the article was written with some newsworthy things and some humor things and all over the place. There is some interesting comments. At least the raccoon wasn't driving. True. He was just trying to suppress his appetite is all. Swimsuit season's coming up. If I'm the raccoon, I'm more terrified of the thing that I'm riding around with, not the meth pipe or the police. Hope animal cruelty is one of her charges. So far, that was not. That's the beauty, that is the beauty of being an officer. It's high risk. Any traffic stop could be gunfight at the OK Corral. So you have that concern. But on the other side of it, my God, the things you see as an officer as you pull people over. That is absolutely fascinating to me. I did a ride, well, not technically a ride along. We were doing training where we set up mock cars. They had scenarios set up. So it's interesting from their perspective to walk up behind a car. You see people moving around and everything. And I can imagine they've seen about every sick thing under the sun of some of these freaks they have to pull over. You know what I mean? You imagine that out around the dinner table? Well, how was your day? Well, I saw a methed up cooked raccoon. Or at least he was holding the paraphernalia. Wouldn't the raccoon be charged? Wouldn't he be the guilty party? I'm sure that this person will argue that. Well, it's not my meth pipe. It was in his hands. Chewy. I would love to be in the courtroom when this case comes. It'll probably sold out of court. She'll pay some fines, get drug rehab, whatever. I'd love to be in the courtroom if this went to court. I would pray that she would have a jury trial. I would love to hear that case. You would never forget it. In fact, someone said, that's not my meth pipe. Officer, that belongs to the raccoon. He's a party animal. Oh, my gosh. I honestly did not know that you could own a raccoon in Ohio. I didn't know that. Wow. And driving around with it, I mean, come on, a raccoon driving around too. There's a lot of bad things go wrong. I don't care if it's a pet or not. Especially jacked up like that. Wow. Go over to New York Post and look at that article. Absolutely. Video, pictures, and all. Amazing. What a world we live in. Don't forget, in the morning, folks, we will have SFP Morning Show tomorrow night with Steve the Celtic Blacksmith from Ohio as our first of the month guest from now going forward. On our 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Hump Day Views, we look forward to meeting with you. And then, yes, afterwards, the Maga Report. We're going to get out of here. We'll be here in the morning. We'll be here tomorrow night. All shows every day, night and day. Sports show tomorrow, too. We're moving that to Wednesday. James has a couple of conflicts in schedule, so it's sooner Thursday or Friday. It's going to be Wednesday. We get to talk sports. I'm looking forward to that. We'll see you then. Take care. God bless. Have a great night. Thanks for the support of the Southern Fried Podcast. Remember, make the switch today. Patriot Mobile. Use that promo code Cornbread. Great company. You're going to get some savings. First month's on us. That promo code will get you that. I just signed one of my phones up, so I know. And we're in their loyalty program. So as long as you remain a customer, we benefit as well. You can help support us by that way. You're getting great, cheaper cost, a better company to deal with. Texas-based, Christian conservative company, America First. You can keep your own platforms, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. Make the switch today. Cornbread, don't forget, cornbread. We do have a landing page for that. I don't have it on the scroll tonight. We'll see you in the morning. Lord willing. Take care. God bless. Salute. We'll go out with some music as we always do. Take care.